Hello, hello. I wanted to share with you this really awesome product that Tailored Expressions came out with. They came out with a stamp and stencil die to make this right here. And this one is inked, but I wanted to share with you how I use it with ink and then pen pastels. So this is the inked version that I did. I used mull wine, pineapple, honey, and toffee. And that was what you see here. And then I will cut it out using a die, and then I can put it on my card like this. So let's get started. And I'll hopefully share some tips and tricks along the way that has helped me with these. So, pan pastel, and then my ink, and I'll show both ways so you guys can get an idea. Okay, so when I stamped my card, I did not pay attention to how how the stamped image would fit on the stencil. So it's going to be like this because of the guides. So if you want it to be straight like this, you're going to have to mess with the stamp and the stencil. But I'll show you what I mean. Like there's guides, there's ways to look to see exactly how to place your picture. There's like it's like embossed or debossed, so I can kind of see where the guides are, and I just line that up to the best that I can, because the more particular you are on how you put use your guides for the stamp, the easier it's going to be for when you die cut or use a card. Okay, so I got my blending brushes and I'm rocking and rolling. All right, so I'm going to use pineapple first, and I actually put pastels on my blending brush, so that should be fun. We'll see how this works. I don't know how pastels work with. I was messing around and I got pastels on my blending brush, but I think it'll be fine. It just might look a little funny, but that's okay. It's a learning process. If you're not learning, you're not developing your style, in my opinion. Okay, so there's the pineapple. Now the orange, I'm going to clean off my blender brush, so I don't have pastels on my blender brush, which I don't. I just use my hand. Then I can come back over here, and because I'm going to show you my little tip for this, for blending with the mull wine, which mull wine is probably easily one of my favorite colors from Tailored Expressions. It is so versatile, and I use it a lot. Okay. I'm just guiding, making sure everything's perfect. Okay. Rocking and rolling here. Woohoo! All right, so I'm going to lightly, when I say lightly, this is a really dark pigment. So when I say lightly, I mean lightly. And I'll show you why. I want the tops of the flowers to be lighter than the bottom. So that's why I'm going pretty lightly on this. Now I can go back in and I'm just going to darken that. And you can kind of see, you'll see it more when it comes out. But I want to get it really dark. This is why I love the mull wine pigment, is because I really can get 2 shades out of this ink. Okay, that one's done. So you can kind of see it coming together. You can see that two-tone, that deeper red and then that lighter red. If it's a dark ink, you can totally get 2 tones out of it, which is completely different than the pastels that I'm going to show you in just a second. All right, lining this up, and this is my 7th one of these, so I'm getting pretty good at lining them up, but I still want to make sure that they're in really good shape. Okay, I'm going to take honey, which is more orangey than yellow, but it really works for this. And you can kind of see what I mean by orangey. It's just a darker yellow. And again, you could probably get 2 tones out of this honey color. It's definitely a warm yellow. Yeah, that looks really pretty. Okay, now I'm gonna, because ink is translucent, I'm gonna try something different, because the the toffee just isn't cutting it for me. So I'm going to try something different that I haven't actually done with you guys but I'm going to take this honey yellow color and I'm going to put that on first. I'm hopeful that it will give it more of a darker look to it. So when I put toffee on, it will be darker. And then if that still doesn't work, I'm going to add a little bit of mull wine. Browns, especially sunflowers, you can get a lot of different colors from just that brown. Oh yeah, that's perfect. It's going to have that warm undertone to it, which is what I'm looking for. But it's not going to be blue like if I were to do a mulled wine. Let's just do it so I can show you what I mean. Yeah, you can kind of see how that's, and I'm going to just give it a little bit of extra color to it. All right, now, voila, there we go. Now we can cut that out. And that's ink. Okay, now I want to show you pan pastels, and I'm not using my blender brushes for pan pastels because I just found out, and this is really important to know, pan pastels, if you have them, don't use your blender brushes like I did. Because they are oil based. Pan pastels are oil based, and ink is water based. So ink and water do not mix very well, and so don't make that mistake. All right, I'm going to try this way, and again, lesson learned. If you want your pictures, if you want your thing to be perfect, line the stamp up with the stencil and then start stamping. That's why a lot of people will use their Misty. I just put these four on my on a glass like workable surface, taped the stencils, and off I go. All right, so this one I'm using magenta, and I'm using magenta extra dark, which is really just a shade of magenta, so that we're going to get, it's the same hue, just this is made with black and this is the pure pigment. I'm also going to use orange and daisy yellow. So those are the colors, and I am loving this color combination. It's really fantastic. Okay, so I use cosmetic sponges for my pan pastels, and there's my yellow orange, there's my magenta, and then my magenta dark, and then I have my brown, which I did not get out, but I will. All right, so let's get started. Because they're oil based, you only need a little bit. You see, and then I'm just gonna. You don't really have to blend a whole lot. They go on very smooth. I fell in love with these. All right, so there's that. Now I'm going to go in with my darker yellow or orange, and then I'm just going to kind of dab in the middle so it looks like there's some shade. And I might actually go back and go over that one more time just so I can get the tips really, really yellow. Okay, and you probably won't see much of a difference, but there's the yellow, very bright and vibrant, if you ask me. All right, now, sometimes it's just, I think that's good. Okay, I'm going in with my magenta, regular magenta. You can get pan pastels. I get them at the art store. I haven't seen them at any big box store, but oh my gosh, these things are going to last you forever. And I don't think you need all the colors. I have a Leah Griffith pan pastel set, a landscape pan pastel set, and then a seascape and skyscape pan pastel kit. And that is more than enough for me. That's more. I have all the colors that I will ever use. And then I think they're about $6 or so per pigment. So it can get expensive, but I also think that it's a pretty good deal if you like to play with color. Okay, for this one, I'm going to go with my orange because we got some bright yellow going action, but we don't have a whole lot of this orange. So, and then when I want the color on, I just kind of give it a nice circle-y, or I just dab it with my finger. I don't know if there's really a right or a wrong way to use pan pastels. I know if you're using it as a piece of artwork, you want to commit to either going vertical or horizontal, but not, every which way unless you're trying to get a super even blend. But since we're dealing with small stencils, I think that looks really pretty. We're not going to worry about that. Okay, so again, color theory is a big deal when you're blending and creating florals. And because I know just enough color theory to get me in trouble, I know that when I blend yellow or orange onto this darker color right here, I will get a beautiful brown. So that's what I'm going to do, maybe, if I can get in those little dots are a little more tricky to get in with the pan pastels, but I'll show you. All right, so I'm going to get my brown. Here's my brown. The other cool thing is that the pan pastels stack together. So if I know I'm going to be doing this, I could stack these all up and just have it as almost like a kit. Here's my brown. I don't like to mix brown with too many other things. So there's this brown. It's looking much richer and darker than before. And that's what I'm hopeful. Okay, let's see. With pan pastels, you do get pastels all over, but that's part of the fun, I think. Okay, there we go. All right, now with pan pastels, you want to spray it with a fixative. You can get it at, again, the art store. But it does give it a more artistic look to it. I do love the ink. Don't get me wrong. I think they both have their place, and I think they both are just a fun mediums to work with. So I hope this kind of helps you see how the whole stencil guide thing works. Again, I did not, when I put my stamp on my Misty, I did not think about the stencil at all. I just thought, oh, I can, have room on this paper for something else, but that's not so much the case. But anyways, those are two ways that I like to use those the layering stencils from Tailored Expressions. And if you have any questions on either the ink blending or the pastel blending, let me know, because I'm more than willing to answer questions. And then to finish it, this is a new stamp called Fine Leaf Background. And so I just did that. I believe this is toffee paper with toffee ink. And then I used two simple sentiment strips. My daughter is in 7th grade, and I'm trying to encourage her to be who she is and don't. Anyway, so this card is for her to let her light shine, because she is my sunshine. So anyways, I hope this helps, and I hope you can find some time to play with pastels or pan pastels. Pan pastels are really fun. Anyways, I'll chat later, and enjoy the weekend.